Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. Good morning to everyone here. Before we get started on our discussion, shall we have everyone introduce themselves? I am Jaden, representing the parents of the students from a local primary school.
I am Wong Chi. I'm working in a government school as a teacher.
I'm Nguyen. I'm a primary school student.
Student.
Yes.
I'm wondering what can a student talk?
The student council representative.
And I am Sanjukta. I'm from the international school teacher. Primary international school teacher.
Okay, so as I have called this meeting, I shall act as the moderator and lead this discussion moving forward. So there have been many concerns towards the students' reading proficiency within the school recently, especially in their reading comprehension, engagement, and overall reading experience. So after some investigation, you will find out that there are many arguments about the reading materials in school. To be more specific, there are still many schools still prefer to use print reading material in school and not adapting the modern digital reading. Of course, everyone understands the benefits of both types of reading, and ultimately, it is the school's decision to use whichever. However, there are still many individuals continuing to raise the concerns around the area, which leads to arguments and even conflict. Therefore, we are gathered here to discuss digital and print reading. In short, the main objective of this discussion forum is to explore the pros and cons of print reading and digital reading. We will also provide different insights and perspectives for the schools to consider in their academic planning. Okay, so as a start, I will as representative of the parent, I will start this off. Okay, so books were transformed into a mobile tool for information and or entertainment purpose. For a long time, traditional book formats seemed to be ideal. Nevertheless, with the complexification of digital context, this format is being questioned and experiments are conducted to narrow the existing gap between print books and digital media practices. So print reading, as we know, is just the printed materials, normally like books, newspaper, articles, and the digital reading is basically from the computer, like PDF, Word document, using computer, tablet, or phone, iPad, things like that. Okay, so for my part, I have found out that for digital reading, there are more benefits, such as the ease of movement. It's easy to carry around compared to books, because now we all carry the phone in our pocket. Just open up very fast. Okay, so another thing is using the digital printing, we can also easily open the pictures and videos. So this will also give more ideas, insights, and even help the student understand better in their comprehension. So there are also many materials online, like online resources. So they just open the phone, they just Google search whatever they want to read, and then they can also download it and then organize it. So this will also save the space in their school and even in the student's home. So even Paul, Telly, and Rajina in 2010, they also stated that digital texts offer convenience for storing digital text that enable institutions to avoid using so much physical space. So imagine that library have 10,000 books. You take up a big space. But if you only download it into like an archive in the school, they just need a tablet. The school can save the tablet in the school, so you just open up and then open it. So no need to have so many bookshelves. The teacher also can save the space, and some of the students also easier to access it.
Yes, okay. Parent,
Parents using citations to talk.
I love it.
It's okay. Yeah. So parent, I definitely agree with you. Using digital devices devices definitely has its own benefits, but also we are in a primary school. The students are still developing their attention span, and also, did you realize how many of them are wearing glasses nowadays? Yes, and if you go to mama stores and all, you see, I'm not talking about you, other parents, yes, when they are busy, maybe talking to each other, or even they themselves also using phone, then they will always let the children to look at the phone, and children, they are not as disciplined as adults. Then they don't have the self-restraint. Also, this leads to another problem, the phone addiction and all. And if we let them use digital prints, digital reading materials in class, 40 of them in one class, only one teacher. It's very hard for us to handle them all at the same time. They definitely will go somewhere else. You're a parent, you have children at home, then definitely they cannot control themselves. So yes, it will save a lot of space. You don't have to print that much. We can even go into saving papers or what. But I think at least in primary school stage, we need to have them to focus more on the paper materials, the traditional way. But it's good for them because they won't be so easily distracted. Teacher asks you to go to which page, and then everyone is on the same page. Your device is not there, and then we won't have to go every time, every 5 seconds or what, go around the class and then check whether you are on Google or you're playing your Roblox or what not. So from a government teacher's perspective, we still prefer to have printed materials over digital. Yeah, so that's what.
Actually, government school, government school, they are the only one who has blocks. That means that you can only access to that. It is set by in school by KPM already. You cannot access anything else
On the device.
on the device. Even during that time, during my time, we thought we had that set.
But students nowadays, they use VPN.
But yours is private, we don't have the restrictions.
Okay, moving on. How about the perspective of the international school teachers, Sajida?
Okay. As educators in international school or modern learning environments, we are continually adapting our methods to meet the evolving needs of learners. And one ongoing conversation in my school is that I'm sure some of us here are also in the same situation, okay, which is the role of digital and print reading in developing literacy among primary school students. We are talking about primary school students. Yes, everyone is concerned about whether we should go for a print reading or a digital reading, right? So I did like to share some insight from my classroom and explore some current research and hear your thoughts on how these balance play out in your schools as well, or rather the parents' perspective and also a student's perspective. Now, for me, as an international school teacher, let's say I take the example of a year 3 classroom. We use platforms like Oxford Owl, Epic. Okay, these are some websites, or rather a platform where allows students to explore a wide range of texts at their individual reading levels. And many of my students are English language learners, and yes, we are talking about English language, or come from multilingual backgrounds. So the text-to-speech or vocabulary support and interactive features are huge help. Okay. So when it comes to digital reading, encourages independent exploration, which means the students are very independent to actually go and search for the text that they really want to read and so on. And they often feel empowered when they can choose a story or adjust their reading level. They have levels set in their on the digital reading platform, so they can just click and they just read whatever they want. And also they get certain immediate feedback or rewards. These features do wonders for engagement and motivation actually. And I also observed some challenges with digital reading. Yes, like what Wong Chi said, as a government school teacher, how many of the students are wearing glasses? Correct? Skimming through digital text and comprehension can be superficial, but they are more likely to click through pages without deeply processing the content, especially when screens are also associated with entertainment. You know how certain digital reading, there are pros and cons. But let's also look at print reading, a foundation that still matters, which I think as a teacher, I would also prefer print reading. Okay. Despite the digital age, I firmly believe that print reading still plays a critical role in developing focus and deep comprehension. And during guided reading sessions or literature circles that I have done in my school, I think I've done literature circles where the students sit in circles and they start reading paragraph by paragraph and analyze all those. I've also taught them one approach, which is the reciprocal approach. There are 4 strategies to analyze the text, especially for print. I haven't tried it for digital yet, but I have tried for print material, and it actually seems that students engage more meaningfully with physical books or rather print papers, because they could highlight, even though in digital they can highlight, but again, they might lose certain points, and they are in primary. So digital with primary school students, we have to be more concerned on keep on how to say, we have to make sure 24/7 they are not focusing on other things but actually on the reading. So I think the act of flipping pages and lack of digital distraction allow for more focus and sustained experience. And I think I also read a few journal articles that mentioned the reason ones, I think, from Singer and Alexander, research done in 2021. It is a reading across medium, effects of reading digital and print text on comprehension and calibration. They have used experimental design actually with the primary and secondary students. So this means that the participants read text either in print or digital, and how they answer comprehension questions, whether they are well taught or they had understood better from the digital or print. And the findings shows that digital readers overestimated their comprehension but actually scored lower than print readers, and print readers showed better metacognitive accuracy and deeper understanding, especially with informational text. So this is one of the research that I have read, and I think that yes, there are pros and cons to it, but let's look at the perspective of a student maybe before.
Sure. Okay, thank you very much for the information. I don't know how about from the student perspective, what do you think of all this?
So for me, like the first for reading stream and reading a real book, right? So I will look at three perspectives. First is reading comprehension. First, like for me, reading a real book, you have to understand the story much better. Like when I read a story like The Very Hungry Caterpillar or Magic Tree House, I can remember what happened because I can flip back and forth the page and see the picture again and again. And I use the finger to point into the line by line, like how my parents or the teacher do it like that. And I also see in some science channel, on Disney Channel and those TV, they say that our brain will remember more when we read on paper because we use more senses. We look, we feel the pages, and we even hear the page turning, the sound of the paper. And that will help us think about the story more deeply. And I also try to compare between, I read one same story on my iPad and one on the real book. And I remember more detail when I read the real book, because it's like, I can imagine the line on my brain really vividly. So the second one is engagement, so how I enjoy it. So reading on the tablet can be very fun because it has colors, have some sounds, and I read a story called Let's Go to Review on a reading app, right? And when I tap into the lion, it draws. And then it's really fun when I do that, but then I'm get easily distracted because I see the animal, I can touch that to hear how it sounds, and it keeps turning back and then I see all kind of butterfly and all really funny. And then sometimes they pop up of some other app like my mom's Facebook and then or other messenger, I will just keep looking at what to text my mom, something like that. Yeah, something like that. Really easily to get distracted that. And then sometimes I even accidentally press the home button, right, it will pop out so many options like this and say, oh, this today I still play this game, so I will touch it like this 5 minutes, but then half an hour pass if my parents are not around, so it's really distracting. Yeah. And then and also reading on the printed book, right? And I go somewhere anywhere else, so I can just bring the book. I don't need Wi-Fi because my mom don't allow me to have a phone with the connected to 4G and all. So I go anywhere, doctor, see doctor, go to the airport, I also can just hold a copy with me. So it's more convenient now. And for the reading experience, I really love the bedtime story. Like my mom or my dad will hold a book, we will turn the pages and look, and then it will make me fall asleep better. Because on the iPad, right, the blue light, right, it will make my eyes wide open like this and really active. But on the reading book, I feel my parents read the book and turn the page, I look a bit nasty already. Yeah, and sometimes when I finish a book, right, I calculate how many books I read, so I feel very proud when I finish one book. Yeah. I also see on the science channel that the young children will, when look at the eyes, we will get the eye faster also. So it will increase my what that's called the power of my ear. Yeah. And they also say that the young children will understand story better when they read with someone else using a big book. It's called shared reading. And I think that's all from my point of view.
Okay, so hearing from the perspective of everyone here, I think we can more or less agree that both sides have benefits. Okay, so like when we do the digital reading, yes, it can be easy to carry, but I think one of the biggest problem is the shallow reading. It can be easily distracted, so they tend to focus more on the color, the content. But I think there are also some good points also, like the additional support, like the dictionary, the integrated. Because some ebook, after you click the word, they show the meaning of the word directly, so that also easy access to the dictionary. Compared to the print reading, you still have to find a dictionary, open it, find the word. It also takes time.
Also pronunciation.
Yeah, also the pronunciation. Correct. They have the reading pronunciation. Then another one is easily distracted. So yes, because you can move around the student. I think some students also get used to the moving things like the animation, the video type things. So they cannot like read the paper very calmly. They must there's something moving around. And what the students say is also correct, that they focus more on the colorful things, that not really focus on the words. But I think for the digital reading, it's good to capture the attention of the younger students, so they can at least get interested in the reading instead of just the animation. Okay, but I think in terms of engagement, right, also correct on the parts where you say it's more focused on the picture and thing. But I think that's also a good starting point for the younger kids. For the older kids, of course, they can just directly focus on the words. But for the younger kids, you can let them begin or learn to have discussion using the pictures, the content of the word instead of the words itself, like of story. But yeah, I think the point that Wong Chi said about the saving paper also very good, because now we need to save paper, like global warming, the space, everything. So the e-book thing is very good for the saving the paper. Imagine that, I think even normal school, right? How many people do you use every day?
Normal school, can you mean how many papers?
Yeah, how many people?
Okay, for my school, international school, we don't really use papers, but we are focusing on the textbooks, on Cambridge syllabus textbooks. When it comes to papers, the initiative of the teacher, whether they want it to print the text for them or not, is another thing. But yes, as teachers, we don't even have enough time to actually have extra resources for the students, so we will go with the textbooks. But I think the good thing about international schools, they use the Cambridge syllabus. They come with an e-book and also the print versions. So when I am the teacher, I will project the e-book, and it will help me to actually click let's say we have a reading passage, they will also accommodate it with listening. So as the students are reading on their books, okay, I will play the audio. So that digital reading, I consider that as a digital reading as well. Sometimes I do share that to my students because primary students, they don't really want to focus on the words reading themselves, but they also want to listen to the pronunciation. So I will try my best to download it and send it to my students. And when it comes to in class, yes, I know international schools nowadays, students are allowed to bring their gadgets. For primary school, yes, even they have started for them to use their MacBooks or their laptops or tablets. Sometimes the school actually provides, but the consequences, when it comes to primary, the consequences, what type of websites are they allowed to use and all. So whether the school have certain restrictions, they block certain websites, or some schools you can bring your own devices, and if my students have their own devices and they bring it to school, I will actually ask them to open the digital text, the reading text, and also go through it, see if they can highlight from there. I also do teach how to actually engage with the digital text and also the print text. But again, this is primary school, it will take a lot of time for us to actually go through both. So we will focus on print first. They are too young for going for digital, but at the same time we should expose the students for digital reading, because in future, if they have any other reading outside of the classroom, it's easier for them.
Also, because you mentioned internet and also the gadget, in normal school we tried also, and internet was a big problem. Yes, for us, because digital, so everything you have to get from the Google Classroom or from the school website or email. A lot of them will start saying that the Wi-Fi is not working, I have no access at all. Then you have to wait for them, and then most of the time teachers will have to turn on their own hotspot and share it to the students.
In school, private school.
Government.
Government now. But in my school also I have to turn on my hotspot because the Wi-Fi is not working. Then a lot of us use up our hotspot before the month ends because we have to share it to the students.
Charge money.
Yes. Then so that's one problem, and also some of them, the parents, they will set parental control on the devices. You can only use it for 1 or 2 hours a day, but school day is more than that. Then if every subject also you have to use the device, then after 1 or 2 lessons, then they will be screaming and shouting, teacher, I cannot on my iPad, teacher, I cannot on my MacBook already, because the parental control is there. And also password, things like that, because kids, they don't remember
Screen
their
time.
passwords. Screen
But I
time.
think it's a good thing that government schools are actually starting to use the devices. Because you see, usually during like our times, government school, we don't have the access at all using devices. Only we go to computer labs. Other than that, we are not allowed to bring phones and so on. But international schools, yes, they do allow the students to bring their gadgets. Or the school itself will provide each student. I think they have to pay some kind of rent when they are actually enrolling in the school. So when it comes to digital text and print text, we are talking about primary school. So it's a bit hard for them to focus more on digital, and the teachers, of course, will go for print much more easier. But of course, if they are young children, we can actually go to digital text because of the images, the visuals. I think young students really like that.
Also, as government teacher, I feel that maybe we should get a bit more training how to handle students with gadgets nowadays. The internet access, how can we manage giving out the materials to them, and then maybe some gimmicks in the files, like where to press, how to make it more interesting or what. Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely, we have to train them for the future because there will be more and more screen time and less papers and books. So we definitely need some change in the system and give the teachers more training to upgrade them. Then they can also adapt with the trend.
And I think that the material, the teacher also need to be careful when choosing it. Some material online, because there was time that we were provided a link, and when we click in, when we have some advertisement will pop up, and it's the whole class will just laugh, and then the teacher will be awkward.
I think for that, the school principal they should hire like technical team to manage the Wi-Fi thing. Like you said, you mentioned with Wi-Fi everything, right? If that should be the school initiative to support the digitalization by having a tech team to support the Wi-Fi thing and set the decision. I think even like if the parents set the time limit on their devices, right? I think the teachers should also, like even the principal should explain to the student, to the parent also, we need devices for lessons. So make them set an 8 hours cap, then weekend set it to 2 hours. I think it's something that it can be discussed further with the parents. Because I know every parents have different expectations, different needs, different demands. So as long as, but the school also has their own demands, right? So I think we just try to find balance between there. But how about, I don't know, as a student, which type of reading do you prefer to do in school? Like during teacher's class, think reading or digital reading?
I still prefer I think both are also feeling good, like, but in terms of learning, then I prefer the printed. Yeah, but if just for fun, the relax time, of course I prefer the digital one. I can see so many colors, sound also.
Like leisurely digital, but academic wise it's been reading.
Probably for leisure reading, the teacher can actually assign students for leisure reading. Go home, they can actually use digital reading. Of course, with the parents' supervision, because we want to make sure the students are reading something, not just in the class. That short period of time, we have to finish reading text and we have to teach them how to use the reading strategies and answering the comprehension questions. Okay. So for leisure reading, we can incorporate digital reading for the students to go home and read, and we can actually tell them to summarize or do a journal entry or come to the class next day, give a reflection on what they have read. A short one, since they are in primary school, right? A short one. Of course, digital reading, we can use a lot of digital platforms with parents' supervision and make sure the student have some reading time and not just scrolling on what other apps. Yeah. That's a very good point. Leisure reading. So it can, in this case, we are actually supporting not the reading format alone, but I think it's also the instructional approach, the type of text that we are choosing for the students to use. So for example, we can give a theme for the students. Probably the whole class is reading about an article, then each student will be reading a different article. Whether it's a print or digital, if it's a digital, we assign it as a homework, and maybe they can actually come up with a journal entry. So, yeah, I think I have a few research also that talks about how print reading is more better than digital reading, but at the same time, it has to go with incorporating both. I think there is one research that I found out also that says that besides Singer and Alexander, I think I would like to share on one. Yeah, recent research, I think in 2023 also, the literacy and digital technology, it shows that digital reading is not inherently worse, but it effectively depends on design and instructional support. Yeah, so
also training, teachers training.
Teachers training. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So it depends on the teacher's instructions on how to get the student in reading, as well as the types of material.
Types of materials, yes. Yeah.
I think that's a very fair point. Even Lulu in 2019 said the same thing. She also supported both digital and print reading can help the readers to improve their comprehension reading skills. So both type of reading are good, but like you said, it really depends on how the teacher guides them.
Yes.
But I think also parents should be also responsible because if the student mainly will learn how to use the technology at home, earlier than the school. So it's also up to us, the parents, to monitor, to teach them.
Can be role model.
Yeah, be role model. Okay, so next point is
Anything else?
moderator side. Okay, so let's go on to some questions. Okay, so I have some questions. I'm interested in asking for the perspective from different parties. Okay, so let's start with students. Okay, so I don't know. Do you think that the students will perform better if the school uses digital reading as the formal method of teaching and assessment instead of printed reading? Like during exam time, you do digital reading, not printed reading. Do you think it will do better?
I think if we have a proper training in terms of doing things on screen, maybe it will be good that the student can perform well if they have enough time to be trained on it. Because sometimes, for example, for some of my house, my neighbor, right, the kids, they go to some small school, so they don't really have those things, so they do everything on the paper, so they get used to that style already. Then suddenly they need to go to IL, the one that do on the screen, then it takes them a lot of time to get used to how to navigate and everything. So it depends on how the school train us on.
So it depends on how much exposure you get
Yeah.
to the digital or the printed reading.
Yeah.
Do you know now more is online?
How about Wenqi? How would you feel if the government school uses the digital reading in class and in exam also?
In class, definitely it has been going on for quite long. Even Milan also, we have the 2.0 version where you do digital tracking. But in terms of assessment, same as I don't know over here. I think exposure is very important. You have to train the students, get used to it. If we are really incorporating the digital text into assessments, which is what we are very worried about. Definitely the exposure, whether or not they have to do it, is very important. Internet access also. But overall, I think it's definitely beneficial. We have to adapt ourselves according to the trend, not only focusing on traditional ways. So I think it will also be beneficial for the students. But as a government teacher, I still think we have to train them to have the reading skills first, maybe using the paper way, the traditional way, then only we slowly switch to the digital way. Because it will then help them to train the retention skill, the reading skill, to be able to be, patient enough to sit there and go through the entire text before we let you do the digital one.
How about Sanju? What's your opinion?
Okay, my opinion, as an international school teacher, I actually agree what Wangchi said. Even though we are in international school and the students are getting all the gadgets or Wi-Fi, whatever, it's pretty good, the resources. But I think I personally try to maintain a balanced approach. I use digital text for independent reading. I think it depends on the teacher as well. If the school, unless the school emphasizes more on one type of reading, but according to the Cambridge syllabus, we have both digital and also print reading, which they use their textbooks. So I think personally, I would feel that I use digital text for independent reading, listening centers, and vocabulary enrichment, because I assign my students to actually read short passages at home, and when they come back to school, they actually reflect on it. And I rely on print text for close reading and shared class novels and also comprehension practice, because I feel that the print text, we should let them explore from the print first, because how to apply the strategies is much more better to teach the strategies using a print text, so that I wanted to have a physical of highlighting, pointing out the main points rather than in digital. Then after that, I will move on to digital text, because or we can do it synchronously both. We use print text. For example, if we are reading a print text article, newspaper article, I can assign the students as a homework, but it's on a digital text. So they will use the same reading skills, strategies that I have taught to digital text. It's just that how are they going to organize their points? If let's say they are using a graphic organizer to summarize the points whatever they have read. So I think it also comes with the students' creativity. But of course, for primary students, we have to give them a full guided version. Even for digital text, if let's say we want them to transfer the reading text to summarize it and in form of a graphic organizer, I think the teacher should prepare an online graphic organizer and teach them how to actually fill up and so on. And I think, yeah, it's not about choosing one over the other, but rather making intentional decisions based on the context, learning goals, and the students' abilities. If you see the whole class is okay with digital reading text, I think maybe we can set a time or in our classes that we can actually conduct reading using digital text. And also, of course, learning goals and the students' needs and abilities. What are the student needs? And learning goals. If we are focusing too much on one, digital or print, we also have to look at the learning outcomes and our lesson objectives. Whether we can cater to the syllabus or not. The syllabus, we have a lot to cover, and as teachers, we don't have time to actually have extra. So I think personally, I feel that it's about encouraging digital literacy in international schools. Yes, but still preserve the joy of traditional reading through book fairs and reading corners and library visits. Yeah, we can have that.
How about the cost?
Cost.
It's very expensive.
If it's a digital reading, some schools, they have actually, the Cambridge have actually given them a set of books, or rather the school actually buys it, like the online, they have set of books, the school actually buys it.
The e-books.
The e-books, yes, and the teachers will have the login password.
But they're very expensive.
If
Especially Cambridge.
international, yeah, Cambridge is very expensive.
Yes.
Because when I go and buy books in the library, when I send my quotation, the e-books were expensive. Very expensive. I was like shocked to see the quotation for the e-books. And the library normally rejects. They only, they will just allow me to buy one large because that itself a big money. So normally they go for the physical, cheaper, much cheaper. I'm not sure the university books are such, but I'm not sure school level.
Why is e-book more expensive?
The
Very expensive.
university levels, yes, but
Yes, but I don't know school level how is it.
Actually, for my school, right, my kids' school,
Oh, we're still in character.
yeah. So actually, my school use the Cambridge syllabus. When we pay the school to buy the books, we buy in the bulk. Like we buy for one whole year. So like for English, we have two books: the textbook and the activity book. So in the back of the front page, we have the code. So we just scratch out the code, then we just log in the Cambridge using the code, then we can get the ebook. So I think it also depends on what type of syllabus because I know that some schools they use they have their own ebook, they have their own archive. But I think for my understanding against Cambridge one, they have the ebook integrated into the physical also. So like what I said before, the physical and the ebook integrate together.
That's why it's so expensive.
Okay, let's move on to next question. Does anyone else have any question to ask anyone here?
pretty much covered about reading comprehension, students' engagement, how are they engaging with digital and also print.
Preference also maybe.
Yeah, I think yes, of course, we do have the managing screen time and how we actually control the students using digital. We're talking about digital tax, yes, entertainment, certain pop-ups. Yeah, so I think we pretty much covered a lot.
think I might prefer digital reading myself, but I think not just digital reading in general. I think mostly it's part of the kids' lifestyle. Because every day now we have digital, we have physical, we have less time, everything must be in balance. So we mentioned just now time management, the materials selection, and even the Wi-Fi, the parental control, everything must be set previously. And I think the most important thing is we have to explain so that the student, the kids themselves understand why we're doing this for them. Otherwise, they might rebel and then not do because they feel suffocated. Like, why I cannot do this? Why I cannot do this? Why I cannot do that? I want to see that. So yeah, I think parents have played a big role in the student lifestyle. So of course we have to manage their digital learning also. But how to say? Yeah, because because my kid is still young, so I prefer digital reading for them. But I think as she go older, I will prefer print reading also because they have to focus more on the language component instead of just the support they give. Because even as you grow up, right, the support you get also get lesser. You have to be more independent also. So yeah, so he needs to be independent. Slowly let go. Interesting question.
Actually, I wanted to ask the screen time
Sure.
since you have already experienced.
Over that question.
Because I'm a teacher, I don't know what your kid is doing at home. I asked the kids to read. So how you actually control the screen time? What the teacher has to read individually? Because I'm sure teachers and parents, we have communication through WhatsApp, and we will update the parents. Okay, so the students are supposed to read this text today at home. So what is their screen time like? So you have explained it.
And later we're gonna have teacher control on the
Yes.
devices.
Actually,
I mean, true lah, because there are parents who cannot control because maybe they have a busy lifestyle or they lack the ability to manage their kids because the kids too rebellious. There are many different parent situations at home. So I think the teacher also needs to be flexible. But the parent must be flexible and responsible. But I think the teachers can also try to give some help. Like if in the severe case, you can also ask like the counselor or the social workers to try and give support. You can also get the principal to help out also. I think the most important is the parents themselves need to be responsible. Okay, one question for you. How will you react if, let's say, because now your school is like the library is all the physical book, like the printed book. So what if we just get rid of all of the physical, we just get the e-book for everyone? How do you think the student will react?
I think as our age, we still not really aware of the consequence of it. So for us, I think still normal lah.
Do you think they will just like play around, try to find games or?
Yeah, BAU lah. Yeah, I think so. But in the long term, I'm not sure. As we grow older, we definitely need a different method to get the knowledge for ourselves. So I'm still not sure. I don't have much experience on it.
No lah, it's like what if lah. No worry. You are the youngest here, so no pressure.
Just because my parents is quite traditional, so maybe they would prefer us to keep something that original to maintain our value and all. So I still prefer we have some printed book or the original version.
So some balance lah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that messed up. So we all agree both have good and bad, but we must try to balance it out. So the younger students can start from digital reading to help them build the interest, while the older one, we have to focus more on print reading to train their reading skill, attention span, and the language components. Okay, so thank you very much for this discussion. Hopefully this will help the school to improve on their academic planning.
thank you so much for